Hi. Everybody is in a different place with understanding either what their symptoms are that they're dealing with, their gut health, what they've learned about gut health. Maybe you're past the keto diet. Maybe you've already done some vegan or vegetarian along the way. You're in a place where you're just still, working with your body to figure out what's going on. So some of the things that we talk about in functional nutrition and functional medicine is about activities of daily living. And those ADLs, those are used along the line of the continuum of healthy living and learning about what you're actually able to do and why you might not be able to do that. We like to empower you with your ability to be able to be more functional in your activities every day, in your routines. Now, one of the topics recently that's been out there is how to heal those layers of your intestinal wall. Because intestinal integrity means that your intestines are working and the junctions are working well, and then the foods that should be staying in or being excreted through the stool your body's able to do that. And there's got to be other systems involved in working, and the digestive system itself has to be all in order for these things to work together. Now, if you've got big gaping holes with your intestines and it's trying to work and you're putting food in your body, and sometimes these are broken down and it's more like this, instead of having these long fingers, it's got short fingers and it's not working, and things are sort of like trying to get together, and you're low on your magnesium and your electrolytes are out of balance and your hormones are way off. You're dealing with some really damaged cells and damaged areas in the intestines. And sometimes you might see something like a lot of people get colitis. A lot of people get even further down. You go into some other diseases that cause diverticulitis or diverticulosis. And that's when you're getting pockets forming throughout the bowel. And these areas are not healed for the long finger-like projections to work to actually allow the intestine to move and to cause that peristalsis to go in a uniform way. And then sometimes it's going backwards, and then it can get twisted up, and then you can get a bowel blockage from that. But we're going to talk about something that actually is something newer that I recently heard about, and I've done a little research on it just because I wanted to understand what people are hearing. And butyrate is something that really helps the lining of the gut heal, and to be a defense mechanism as well as a functional part of your absorption, because you must be able to absorb the foods that go through. And so if you don't have those finger-like projections and they're all mangled up and they're trying to work and the right environment's not in there, and you've got dysbiosis or microbiome is not in a functional way, that you're feeding the wrong cells and they're taking over for SIBO or small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I mean, these things can happen. So I found something on Hone Health, which I thought was very interesting. And I can't take all the, compliments on this, because these butyrate is it's a short chain fatty acid that produces when certain strains of gut bacteria feast on their favorite plant fiber. So this is why plant fibers are so important. And it's not just about getting dry fiber and putting it on your food. It's about eating the foods that have that fiber and being very careful. If you're in a bad place, you might have to eat soup to start your process because you're not able to digest some of these other things. And so you have to be very careful with how this is working. But that plant fiber, the stuff that makes your beneficial gut bacteria thrive, is what you really want your body to be breaking down and using, and that's what helps to create this butyrate. Now, simply put, when you consume fiber-rich foods like a banana, now you don't want to overconsume just bananas, but occasionally a banana can be helpful. Your gut bacteria digest and break down the dietary fiber in the colon. Now, if you're getting all of your fiber from what you think are these dried bars or some of these dry powders and things like that, that's really not beneficial fibers. I'm going to say you need to eat the whole food naturally, and it's got to be cooked to a degree that your body can tolerate until you're able to build up your entire gut lining and also your stomach lining, and I'll see if your pancreas is working in conjunction. And all these different amino acids have to be introduced at different times for them to actually nourish you. So short chain fatty acids deliver all the things that you need to absorb your minerals, and also help to balance the bacteria in your gut so that the bad guys don't take over. Okay, now this guy's name is Lipman, and Dr. Frank Lipman, and I think that it's only beneficial for you to understand that there are foods you can supplement, and supplements can work temporarily, or they can be a part of a protocol moving forward in management. But some of the foods which are wonderful for prebiotic rich fruits and vegetables are almonds, asparagus, chicory root, which a lot of people looked at chicory root and thought it was just a terrible plant that was invading their garden. But chicory root has a distinctive quality, and it's a little bit tart. So some of the tart and some of the ones that taste a little bit sour or whatever, those are medicinal for you. And that's what you need to introduce. Citrus fruits. Now, you don't want to go crazy on these. You just want to introduce them in small portions with your meals. Dark leafy greens, dandelion greens, endive, garlic, Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes, jicama, kiwi, leeks, mushrooms, onions, and yams. Okay, now these I'm going to say are prebiotic rich fruits and vegetables. Don't go crazy overdoing them, and try to incorporate them throughout the week, okay, in different amounts throughout the week, so that you're not just relying on one type of food. Because introducing them with these other foods that we are relying on can actually start turning things in a different direction. And you want to really take advantage of anything that is grown in your garden and that offers garden-rich nutrients from the soil, because the soil also has a huge impact on what's going on in your mouth and in your gut and how you're breaking down your foods. And some of the resistant starches that are mentioned are lentils, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, green underripe bananas, and something called tiger nut flour. Now, I am going to say that there are some foods in these lists. I want you to notice that for the prebiotic rich fruits, the onions, leeks, and garlic are onions. They're in the onion family. You have to look for families. Rotate your onions. These are also noticed on the FODMAP food plan. So you want to rotate those things, not over introduce them, and know that they can cause, if you do too many onions, you can maybe have some issues. They also onions contain sulfur. Okay, sulfur is very good for you in moderate amounts. Okay, if you overdo it or you underdo it, your body has some responses. Okay, so you want to talk about lentils, black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, and any of the pea family or any of the peanut and pea. These are your different types of legumes that we had to learn about because of my daughter's allergy to soy. So soy is also a legume. All of these are in a family. So even though it's a resistant starch, lentils have a lot of iron in them, and you have to know where you are with your metals in your body and how all these things are going to react, and where your body is in it. When you look at the periodic table, are you heavy in lead? Are you heavy in one aluminum? Are you heavy in other metals? Or you heavy in fluoride? You know, this will make things skewed in the body. And so your responses are going to be a little skewed. And if you're relying on something every day that you might not even realize, it could cause some major issues. So you want to think about, you know, this is the supplement that I found. I'm going to try this only because there are some days maybe that sodium butyrate could be helpful. Now, you might go back and forth a little bit with some of your symptoms, okay? So maybe you've come to a plateau even with your weight. And maybe you've come to a plateau where things are starting to change up and you don't understand. Well, our body is constantly healing. Plus, you got to realize what you're doing in your life. So you want to look at that reflection of what you're doing in your life and what you're allowing your body to heal from. So if you have a raw intestine and your stomach is not healed and you've got layers that have come off and it's not able to heal, and you get ulcers all through your intestine and your intestinal wall and down into your gut, and even fistulas can occur. These things need to heal, and you have to give yourself permission to allow them to heal. So today's topic was on butyrate and how these different types of short chain fatty acids and also amino acids work with your body. And I give you a lot of strength today to grasp on to some strength in knowing that what you put in your mouth matters every day. Your health is valuable from what we surround ourselves with, what we think, and what we eat, and mindful eating. Diane Greco-Allen, food relationship coach, functional nutrition counselor. Have a beautiful day.